Most people think they already know the story of David. They remember a shepherd boy standing before a giant, a stone moving through the air, or a king whose name would become woven deeply into the history of Israel. Yet when his life is placed back into the world in which it unfolded, his story begins to reveal a greater complexity, one shaped not only by moments of triumph, but also by long periods of waiting, uncertainty, failure, and transformation. It begins during a time when the people of Israel were still learning what it meant to live under a king. The nation had emerged from a period of judges and tribal leadership, and in response to uncertainty and external threats, they had asked for something different. They wanted a ruler like the nations around them, someone visible, powerful, and capable of providing stability. Their first king was Saul. At first, Saul appeared to possess the qualities people expected from a leader. He stood taller than most men, carried an outward appearance of strength, and seemed capable of leading a nation through difficult times. Yet over time, tensions emerged between his actions and the responsibilities he had been given. And as those tensions grew, a gradual shift began to take place. While these events unfolded within the structures of leadership and power, far from the attention of courts and armies, another life was quietly beginning to take shape. David was born in Bethlehem, a small town located among the hills of Judah, into the household of Jesse. He was the youngest among several brothers, and within the family structure of that time, being the youngest often meant occupying a place of lesser significance. Responsibilities were distributed according to age and status, and the youngest son was unlikely to be viewed as the natural center of attention. As David grew, his daily life unfolded far from political influence or public recognition. He spent much of his time tending sheep across open fields and hillsides, carrying out work that required patience and consistency rather than prestige. Shepherding was not regarded as a position of importance, yet it demanded long periods of solitude and attentiveness. The days would have followed a quiet rhythm, marked by movement across grasslands, changing weather, and long hours beneath open skies. During these stretches of time, removed from crowds and responsibilities beyond the flock itself, David experienced a kind of stillness that would later shape many aspects of his life. Tradition often associates David with music during these years, particularly the harp, and many of the psalms later connected to him reflect a person who spent considerable time observing the world around him. The movement of stars across the night sky, the changing seasons, the silence of distant hills, and the experience of both peace and uncertainty appear repeatedly throughout these writings. At the time, however, there was little reason for anyone to believe that this young shepherd would eventually alter the course of history. He did not live among influential people. He had no military reputation, no position of authority, and no visible path toward leadership. From an outward perspective, his life appeared ordinary. Yet it is often within ordinary settings that larger changes begin to emerge. While David continued his daily responsibilities, events elsewhere were moving toward a point of transition. Saul's leadership had become increasingly unstable, and the prophet Samuel was instructed to travel to Bethlehem, where a new future was quietly waiting to unfold. When Samuel arrived, Jesse presented his sons before him one by one. The older brothers appeared strong and capable, possessing many of the qualities people naturally associate with leadership. Yet, as each son stood before Samuel, the expected choice did not come. Eventually, Samuel asked whether there were any others. Only then was David called in from the fields. The image presents an interesting contrast. While others had been gathered for consideration, David had remained with the sheep, continuing the ordinary work of the day, unaware that events had begun moving in a different direction. And when he arrived, something unexpected occurred. The youngest son, the shepherd who had not initially been included, was chosen. In that moment, David's life entered a new chapter, although the significance of it would not become fully visible immediately. He did not suddenly become king, nor did his surroundings change overnight. Instead, life continued, and for a time, the future remained hidden within the ordinary patterns of daily life. Yet, beyond the hills of Bethlehem, circumstances were already beginning to shift toward events that would bring David out from silence and into history.